Hello Suits, and welcome to the next pixel map art. It has been a while since I've worked on one, but I am really excited to get started. For this pixel map, we will be creating the cover art of Tetris from the NES. This one will be more complicating than the last one I did, as there is way more detail and lots of water to deal with. So, let's get started. As I began, the first thing I wanted to figure out was how long was this build going to take. Now, to test this, I basically created 3 vertical lines and timed how long it would take to complete those 3. After completing them, it took about 45 minutes. Now, the entire thing is 128 pixels, so if you do the correct calculations, I estimate that this thing is going to take about 30 hours to complete. And when I figured that out, I was like, wow, this is going to take a lot more work than I thought it was going to. Luckily, I did a little bit of prep work where you can see diamond blocks all over the ground. These are little markers I left for myself so that while working on it, I don't completely lose my spot. Now, as you can see on the mini map, I'm starting on the bottom left corner. I wanted to start down there because there's a lot of different variety of blocks I had to use, and I figured it was a good place to test out and resharpen my skills from the last time I did a build like this. As the cameraman slowly zooms out, you could see me slowly working on this corner. One of the biggest things I need to be careful of is making sure all the pixels line up where they need to be, because if there is one section that doesn't line up, then the rest of my section will be out of sync. As the camera slowly pans over to the side, you can see just how much work still needs to be done. It is kind of crazy to think that all of this will be covered with random blocks just to make a picture, but it will be done. At this point, I was quite pleased with how the bottom corner was turning out, so I decided to start on the top left corner. It doesn't look like much is happening on that top corner, because that color is the same color that the background is. But as the area fills out, you'll slowly see that it is completed. For this map, it is best to start from the top edge and work your way down. This is because the blocks on top affect the shade of the blocks below. As I slowly finish the top edge, I come to the middle section where there is a lot of water and try to fill that in as best as possible. Water is a fickle block that is very hard to control because it doesn't act like normal blocks. As I slowly fill in this area, you can see the different shades of water as it trickles away. The different shades of water is not determined by the blocks above it, but rather the depth that the water is falling. We are back at the top edge, where I begin assembling the letters of Tetris. I fill a little bit of the area around the letters, just to give myself something to work with. I don't fill in all the area in between the letters, because I'm more focused on the letters themselves. Even though I'm just focused on the letters, I have to be aware of the blocks around it, and adapt to how the blocks would react. For now, I have created a single color for the inside of the E. Later, I will have to go back and fill in the appropriate color that it needs to be. I go back to the top edge so I can continue working and filling in the rest of the area where the letters would be. I slowly measure everything out to make sure that everything lines up exactly how it should. Once I am happy, I continue working on that top edge. This top edge is only 4 pixels wide, but I have to treat it as 5 pixels wide. This is because the pixels that aren't on the map are still affecting that top line of pixels. So I have to make sure that those are in the correct spot, just like all the pixels that are in the picture. Once I went far enough, I decided to work on the letters again. For some reason I skipped T and went straight to R, but eventually I get back to it. While working on this T, I had my shades a little confused and I went downward with a TNT. But I quickly noticed it and fixed it how it should be. With more than half the letters completed, I decided to go back and work around that first T. I started by filling the area with glass and then creating the outline of ice. Once I was happy with it, I slowly chipped away at the glass and started pouring down the water. As the session slowly comes to an end, let's take one last look at that map and see how much work still needs to be done.